Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Saturday, March the 25th, and welcome to our commentary. A little special commentary tonight about President Trump or former President Trump in Waco, Texas. I just saw the speech on television, and it was just absolutely amazing. So I wanted to tell you my reaction to it. I'm in the Dallas area, so I guess I'm about 90 miles, 100 miles away where he was he was speaking. But I thought it was just an absolutely amazing speech. It was not perfect. I've got a few thoughts on it that I want to share with you today. But I mean, you have to. There's not another politician that I've ever seen who could do something like that. Now, we do remember 2008, the first Obama campaign where you had these college celebrations, the hope and change speeches. There's no question that he generated a lot of enthusiasm. I mean, let's not. I didn't vote for him, but you had to accept the fact that he generated a lot of enthusiasm. But that's nothing like this, because that was primarily young people. It was a lot of it was around colleges and so on. Nothing like President Trump is generating down in Waco, Texas. Now, actually, obviously, Waco, Texas is very Trump friendly territory, but the energy, the excitement that you saw in that crowd, and the man himself, the way he connects with the crowd is again, I've not seen that before. I have not seen before that kind of excitement in any rally. Now, even Reagan, when he ran for president, especially in his reelection, uh, he was very good at this, but nothing like what we have seen today. So I have to tell you that I was absolutely just astonished to watch or to see what I was uh, what I was watching. Now, I did make myself a few notes because I think part of the speech were not good, and I have to share that with you as well. Most of the speech was very good, but I thought the beginning, and this is a mistake that he's making, and I don't know whether he realizes this or not, or whether his ego just gets in the way, but these stupid attacks on Governor DeSantis of Florida, I don't see that helping anybody. It doesn't help him. It's not necessarily hurting DeSantis because DeSantis has a very strong following. Now, I don't have a problem with the two of them disagreeing about policy. That's why you have primary fights and all of that. That's okay. That's all within the boundaries. But these attacks, sort of personal attacks, and everything was going great in Florida, and nothing has really changed under DeSantis. That is not true. DeSantis has been a very strong leader, and especially in the whole area with parents and public education, he's been an absolutely fantastic leader, and that's why he has such a strong following in the party. Now, I have said many times that I have not made up my mind yet as to who I'm going to support, but I don't like it when President Trump engages in this kind of petty, almost silly attacks against a very successful governor of Florida. So that's the part of the speech I didn't like. And I have to tell you that up front. Now, the rest of the speech was absolutely phenomenal. It was just absolutely phenomenal. When he starts going point by point and he's talking about the things that he did and how things have gone to heck under President Biden. He just runs, issue after issue, the inflation, oil, energy, foreign policy, taxation. Just one after another, where it was so effective, I thought, in the presentation. Anybody watching that speech had to feel really good about the way he presented the information. I've never seen anything that effective before. And then, if you noticed at the very end, and this was genius, at the very end, when he starts winding down the speech, it's almost like he's doing a closing segment. And he's like, going, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. This music in the background is comes on. And it's like, it's fantastic. It's the kind of thing you see in a campaign commercial, obviously. You've all seen campaign commercials where there's music in the background and the candidate is speaking. That's what it came across like. And it was just absolutely incredible. I mean, just absolutely incredible to watch. As I say, the ending of that speech. So I think overall, I'm going to give him very high marks. I'm going to give him an A minus, and he would have gotten an A plus had he not engaged in those stupid attacks. Really, they are stupid and silly attacks on Governor DeSantis. You know, we don't need that right now. It is absolutely essential, as President Trump said tonight, that the Republicans not only win the presidency in 2024, we got to get the Senate and we got to keep the House. And we don't need any divisions. I mean, fighting among ourselves right now is absolutely stupid. Now, I will say that, you know, you're always going to have differences between candidates. I mean, you saw that between Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton in 2008. You saw that between Republicans at different times in different primaries. But we got to keep all the personal stuff out of it. And I just don't like that. I just don't think it's productive. It's not that I don't have the stomach for it. I just don't think it makes a lot of sense. I just don't think it wins elections to divide the party the way that could divide the party. I mean, you've got these two guys and their bases hating each other, sort of like some of you may remember back in 2016 when you had the Ted Cruz wing of the party hating Trump, and if you were on Facebook back in 2016, I mean, these two groups were throwing nuclear bombs at each other every single day. We don't need that in the GOP. We don't need that in the GOP. I mean, I think Governor DeSantis has done an amazing job in Florida, and what he's done in Florida, turning Florida into a super Republican majority, you know, that's pretty good, and that's something that cannot be just written off by some attack on Governor DeSantis. So I say overall, I give him an A minus. I thought it was an absolutely amazing event. I have not seen a politician in my life who could do that, but he's got to clean up the information. You know, the attack on Governor DeSantis. I think he should just avoid it. Just stop talking about the other people and just talk about Biden. I mean, as he did in 80% of the speech tonight. Again, those when he was going one by one, you know, going through the economy, foreign policy, this and this and this and that, and he was just going down the list, you know, one by one. I thought that was so effective. That was so effective that, you know, it's obvious that the man, you know, understands the issues and he's willing to debate the issues, but he's got to get over the opposition. He's got to get over DeSantis and put that on the side and just do that 80% that he did tonight that I thought was fabulous when he was going through the issues. If he does that, I think that maybe something like maybe he'll get DeSantis to go with him on the ticket. I don't know. I have no idea. But he's got to avoid these kinds of attacks. I don't think they help anybody. Now, that crowd tonight was obviously a very friendly crowd. I don't think there were a lot of people for DeSantis there. I know there are some members of Congress here in Texas who've already endorsed DeSantis, like Representative Chip Roy of, I guess, Central Texas. Actually, he's not that far from where he gave that speech tonight. But again, 80% of the speech tonight was fabulous. That beginning when he was attacking DeSantis, I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. By the way, I've got a post before we go. Wanted to tell you that I've got a post over at the American Thinker Saturday morning talking about the president of Mexico, who right now is pretty much at odds with our entire State Department. You know, the State Department put out these warnings for Mexico, and he didn't like that. And of course, the State Department has also been putting out some reports about corruption in Mexico, and he didn't like that either. So, you know, the president of Mexico is not very happy right now with the Biden administration. You know, I sometimes, and I've said this before, but I think the president of Mexico was pretty happy with President Trump. And that's because President Trump, even though, you know, maybe they had disagreements, but those disagreements never went beyond the two of them. And I think they both understood each other. And I think the president of Mexico understood that the Trump policy on the border was better for Mexico than the Biden policy on the border right now. Speaking of the border policy, by the way, I've got a post coming out Sunday morning about this latest tragedy on the border. More people found dead. I mean, they found like 14 people. I don't think they were all dead, but several of them are. Some are dead. People found in a truck, train, or in a train. I mean, this is absolutely horrific. What's going on the border. And if you remember during the campaign, it was the Biden policy, or the word from the Biden administration was that, we're going to be humanitarian. The Trump people are not humanitarian. Well, look, there's nothing humanitarian about what's going on the border right now. When you've got people coming in on the false promise that somehow they're going to get in, and they're going to be able to stay here. And that's not something we should be promising, and something we should not be allowing to happen in the United States. We either have a border or we don't. And right now, I guess we don't have a border. But anyway, good performance tonight by President Trump. I give him an A-. I would have given him an A+, except for those attacks on DeSantis that I just don't think they help anybody at this moment on the campaign. Just a quick couple of items on this day in history. Jack Ruby was born on this day. He was the man, of course, who shot Lee Harvey Oswald here in Dallas a few days after the assassination of President Kennedy. Aretha Franklin was born on this day in 1942. And we say happy number 57 to Tom Glavine of the Atlanta Braves, a great left-hander in the 90s and beyond. Thank you for listening. Everybody have a great weekend. And we're going to see you the next time. I think we're going to be chatting with George Rodriguez the next time about the situation on the border, as well as a few other things here in Texas. Good night, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas.